So this is basically where all of our account specific, profile specific details will reside in. This is specifically all the regions where AWS give their services to us. Okay, as in this is where all the data centers are present. This is where if you select a resource and create a resource, it's going to be created in one of these regions, whichever region you'll select. Example, currently, if I am in Mumbai region, it's going to go ahead and create resources in Mumbai region. Okay. You can go ahead and select, come here, click on services, and post that you can search EC2 service. These are, okay, let me talk to you about services. These are all the services that are provided by AWS. Okay. So when I initially started, I was talking to you more about server, getting all the servers, and like when we talk about data center, we have servers. You can create those servers in cloud provider. But not only servers, there are a lot more things that a cloud provider has to offer. Okay. Something that we discussed yesterday was called as a managed service. Okay. A managed service which is now managed by AWS. Okay. But you are leveraging that and you don't have to manage that service. Example, when we talk about database, okay, and I go ahead and select on probably RDS. Okay. So what I do is I come here, I ask for create a database for me, give some details. Based on the details, it's going to create a virtual database in backend and give me a URL using which I can connect to that database and put my data in there. Okay. A database is where is in kind of more of a tabular format. I hope you already know a bit about it. If not, then please go ahead and read. If you have any questions, please come back and you can ask me here. Okay. So when it comes to a database, you will have to go ahead, run a database. And when you're running a database, suppose that you will connect to that database, maybe query the data, insert a data, etc., etc. Okay. Now, in case of a managed service, they will manage and create a database for you. They'll give you a URL, an IP, or a CNAME, something like that, using which you will be, or a connection string using which you will be able to connect to that database. Once you connect to that database, you can go ahead and perform same set of operations which you are performing there on your own database here as well. There are some restrictions, but they are very minimal. There are some restrictions still there because it's anyways on some others server. Okay. This database is also running somewhere in that, somewhere in Mumbai region, there is some server where they have started a database and they are giving it to you. Or some server where already a very big database is running, there they are creating a small database for you and giving it to you. Okay. So whatever is happening there, you will not have full control over it. So you lose control, but at the same time, you get an ease of using a service. Example, let's talk about a very simple service of um, getting your car. Like you must be doing your car servicing or your bike servicing, right? Now, earlier when these providers were not there, okay, what people used to do, they would do it on their own. Okay. If there were some vehicles, okay, they would whatever that vehicle used to offer, they used to kind of rectify it on their own, because culture of doing, or culture of giving money to somebody else to fix your bike was not there, or your scooty or your scooter was not there. Okay, so people used to do it on their own. Now, when we don't have time, we don't want to invest a lot of our time in fixing that, and plus we don't even have expertise, or we don't want to have that expertise. That's when we would want to go ahead, get our servicing done from probably a service center. Okay, so this is outsourcing my work, right? something that I don't want to do, I don't want to manage, I'm going to give it to somebody else to manage. Okay, you do it for me. When you put your money in bank, you are actually giving it, or you put your money in mutual fund, you are giving it to a company. Like example, if you have bought ICICI XYZ fund, okay, you are giving your money to that bank for them to use the money, to use your money and give you some returns. You can also do ahead and go to the same stock market and put your own money there, but rather than doing that, you would want to leverage something that already exists. For that, they would charge you some fees, but again, it's going to be like you will still be making some profit there, might be. Okay, same thing happens here also. Okay, you can create a server, you can manage your database on your own. Okay, put your data there just like you manage it in a just like you manage it in a simple server. Okay, database is again a service that manages your tables, other things, querying, so on and so forth. Okay, now for this particular service, they are managing it for you. You pay them some extra money to get it up and running for you. Okay, wherein they will only have to manage 100% availability of the service. They will only have to manage everything. You are just you will be given some like some IP or some domain to be able to just connect to that part. So these are services. So all of these are basic services that are given, offered by AWS. Okay, so if you see, there are containerization services, there are networking services, compute services. So currently we are working on compute service. Okay, in compute service, there are different services that are given. We are more focused on having an EC2 server currently. Okay, but now you can go ahead and create anything or use anything you want to. Okay, nobody is going to stop you for that. So you can manage it on your own, or you can ask AWS to manage it for you. Let's try creating a simple server here. So I'm going to come here, click on this option called launch instances. It's a very simple format, but I'll still be sharing all of these details with you so that when you go ahead and try it, you can do it on your own also. Example, I want to create a server called anything I can use. Okay. Now post that, if I want to add some additional tags, I can. Tags as in using this, you can go ahead and identify a resource. Example, env. So I can give an env tag and give its value to be something like test. Okay. So that using this env, you can query and find out all the instances which have this particular key available. Okay, it's basically more of like if I give an example, consider, let's go to let's go to a bank again. In a bank, if I want, everybody has their name. Okay, age, name, age, your account type, and so on and so forth. Now if I want to find out all the people who have age less than 30, okay, all I have to do is just query that. So these are those query points using which you will be able to identify or bifurcate your instances. Okay, sometimes this is just for uh, future reference. Example, we might set something called as owner. So if I'm setting as owner, then anybody who's coming back to like this particular AWS account, maybe in a company there can be many people using the same AWS account, right? So there can be many instances, but now who created what instance you might not know. So these tags also help us identify what this machine can be used of, is used for. It's used for test environment. It is created by this owner. It can be a team name, it can be a person's name. So if you get a team name or a person name, you'll be able to identify, okay, this person is responsible for this instance. Now if we want to ask anything related to this instance or do anything on this instance, this is the person who I have to reach out. Okay, so these tags is just not for querying, but also to identify what this particular machines talks about. Just some, you can consider it as a description, a querying model, an identification pattern, anything. This is an image using which this EC2 instance will come up. Example, now if you have ever installed operating system on your machine, like sometimes that happens, right? Your machine just goes blank and you just bring up a pen drive or a CD which was available before. You'll just come there, put that CD or a pen drive and just load that operating system here on your system, correct? That's a simple process of loading this operating system on a server. So what happens is, this you can consider basically as either operating system, or you can consider it as snapshot basically. Example, um I have a system. I take a snapshot of it, which means I've clicked a photo of it, put it in a file. Next time when I have to bring up another instance, I can use that same image and bring up another instance, okay, which will look identical to same instance as this was at that point when I've taken the snapshot or an image. So these are all the images. Okay, when I say Ubuntu, it's basically a simple operating system image. Okay, this is the description. It has Ubuntu, it has this Ubuntu image, this is how it is, and it is built from this. Okay, and it's built on this date. Now, if you want to have your own images, you can have your own images. There are certain images that are available in AWS, publicly available, and are given to us by AWS. That also you can use. Example, if you want to go for Red Hat, you can just go for Red Hat and Red Hat, whichever version you want to go for. Example, I want to go for Red Hat 9. I'm going to set this. If I want to just have simple Ubuntu machine, I'm going to set that. Okay? This is the architecture. Generally, we avoid changing it until and unless it is explicitly mentioned by the company. But this is architecture. This is machine architecture. Okay. So we have set up till now, we have said two things, names and tags. Okay. We understand what a name is now. We understand what a tag is. Tag is basically just to identify the system, just to probably sometimes understand what the system signifies. When it comes like we have hundreds of instances, you don't know sometimes what instance is used for what. Okay, so this can be used for that as well. This can be used for querying these instances also. Okay, this is basically images. Okay, image means a simple, either you can consider it as an operating system or a snapshot or an image of an already existing system. Now when I use this image to bring up another system, it will look exactly like when that snapshot was taken. So these images, they are Ubuntu images. So there can be an image that was created initially. There could be one instance that was created initially where Ubuntu was installed. There was an AMI that was created by AWS, and this is the same AMI. Okay, this AMI ID is ID for this particular image. This ID also is different for every region. Okay, even if I am talking about Ubuntu server 22.04, this ID will be different in this region, this ID will be different in another region. Okay, so this is us. When I'm saying different for different regions, it means it is a region specific resource. Okay, there can be some resources that can be available throughout the which are available across globally, but there are some resources that are available in this region, that is created in this region. Okay, available as in they are like this AMI ID will only be visible in this region. If you use the same AMI ID to create instance in another region, it might fail. Okay, this is the type of instance. Okay, type of instance means what is going to be CPU, memory, and other resources that you want to give this server to. So when you go ahead and buy your own machine, your systems, okay, you check operating system, you check CPU, you check memory, hard disk, right? These are simple things that you will check, definitely. Okay, apart from that, you might check more details, like I want this many um uh, this is the virtualization I want. This is kind of what do you call that? Which is used for this. Just 1 minute. Huh? So when you go ahead and check for a system, okay, you might check graphic card, you might check operating system, you might check um, like CPU, memory of that instance, and hard drive. Okay, now in these kind of servers, we don't want to check probably a graphic card or something like that, because we don't want to use it for gaming purposes or those kind of stuff. These are compute instances that we want to use to process some information, to do to run our code and stuff like that. So we don't want to have a lot of virtualization and things like that available on these systems. All we want here is to have more capacity, so that we are able to run heavy, like we are able to run, process heavy code, our code, etc., etc. Okay. So when it comes to instance type, let me show you. So instance types can be again divided into multiple parts. Just 1 minute. Let me take you through that. Okay. Currently, we are only making dedicated instances. And not like on demand instances. We are not creating spot instances currently. Okay, so we'll discuss that spot instances later, but let's discuss this first. Okay, so we have multiple instance types that are available. Okay, one is simple general type, that is which will have like good amount of CPU and memory in a balanced manner. Okay, compute optimized will have more CPU and less of memory. More CPU. Okay, sorry. Memory optimized will have more of memory. Like when you, it shows reverse here. Just 1 minute. Latest GPU instances which has highest performance for deep learning. So these are deep learning and highest performance based instances. Okay. Memory optimized instances, they're ideal for memory optimized applications. So those applications which need more memory. Okay. But they don't need that much of CPU. These are all the instances. They'll have more memory, but CPU is going to be little comparatively small, or a less. In for less CPU, you can get more memory here. If you'll go for general, in that example, I want to go for T2. If I want to have same memory, okay, I'll get 36 GB of CPU, which is going to become idle. So it's not optimized solution for me. I don't want this much of CPU, but I want more memory. Okay. So that's when I'll use memory optimized and so on kind of images. You can go ahead and have a look at all of these different types. Okay. This type will also depend upon example. Um, this which type you will be selecting, that will depend upon what is the um, basically what are you going to deploy or what are you going to run on that system. Example, I have a system and I wanted just to run some small code, or a small application. Okay, simple general application that is available, I want to run that there. Okay, so then general purpose is good. Okay, if I want something that needs more memory, then I'll go for memory optimized. So you will have to understand what you are trying to run or what will you be running on that instance. Only then you can actually understand uh, what instance is going to be more beneficial and optimized for you. This kind of information you can ask from your developers. Example, a developer comes and says, okay, I need an instance which has this much of CPU and this much of memory. So based on the CPU and memory that they share it with you, you can get the closest instance here. It can be memory optimized, can be compute optimized, whichever you want to go for. Now I want to show you about pricing of these instances. So as I'm creating on-demand instances, I'll be going ahead and like checking on-demand pricing only. So example, this is the region. I want to select in Mumbai region, Linux instance, general purpose. I want 2 CPU. So these are all the instances that are available, and this is the pricing. On-demand rate, hourly rate. Okay, so you can calculate what's going to be amount. So this is highest to lowest, lowest to highest. So this is going to be like smallest instance that you can use, right? Okay, now again region is Ohio, which is wrong. I want to go to Mumbai, so I'll have to again select Mumbai here because that's what I want to basically see. Okay, so Mumbai pricing for these instances. This is the a general purpose instance. Okay, and with 1 CPU. This is the price. Mumbai price, 42 micro, nano, and all of these instances. So they do have a very nice documentation also. So in case you want to, you can go ahead and go back to this documentation anytime you want, whenever you are stuck at something. Okay, because these pricing and these things, you don't have to learn anything here. You can just come on this page and check the pricing based on the value. Okay, example, if I'm coming to Mumbai again, Mumbai. So any incoming in data transfer in and out of an EC2 instance will cost this much. Okay, so on and so forth. Now, let me just come and create a very small instance. So I'm creating T2 micro. Where is T2 micro? Here. T2 micro. So this is going to be the pricing for it. Okay, I can go for T2 nano if I want to, depending on what is the type. But you will also have to make sure that whatever operating system you're trying to bring up, okay, this instance type is not as small that it doesn't accommodate the operating system itself. Okay, so you cannot have a Windows system running on a nano type, right? Because Windows system needs that much resources. So you'll have to respect that part as well. Okay. Now this is the key pair using which you will actually be logging into the system. You can create a new key pair. Example, I'm selecting DevOps class. Okay. So I'll be creating a key pair. Once you create a key pair, make sure you're downloading it also. So it's now downloaded on my system. If you delete this, you will no longer be able to go in that system. Okay, so make sure you have this. For now, let's consider this as a simple security group. Let it be like that. Don't make any changes. This storage is going to be your hard disk or drive you want. Okay. So example, I want just 8. These are all the different magnetic, which is standard. Then you have these are the different type of SSDs. This is a general SSD. This is IOPS, that is input output optimized SSD. So you can just go for a simple one. You can attach more volumes. These volumes will be kind of different hard disk or hard drives that you are trying to attach, different volumes that you are trying to attach to your system. Okay, there is no limit to it. You can add many, but for every volume you'll have to pay. Okay, so better better add it only for your application related data. Example, if I have an application running, okay, that is producing a data which I want to save in the file system somewhere. Example, there is an application that's running here which is writing a file, okay, somewhere on my system. So that somewhere I will always try to be mounted to a volume, so that later on if this machine goes, okay, I'll still be able to recover the data by just attaching this volume somewhere else. Similarly, as you do with your hard drives. Example, if I have a hard drive, I'll just attach this hard drive on the system. Okay, we'll be able to access data that's there in the hard drive after mounting. Once it is done, remove it, detach it, attach it somewhere else. That machine will also have now data, will be able to access data of this hard drive. Same way. Okay. Now, let me see if we want to discuss any. Okay. For these advanced details, okay, if you don't understand any one of them, absolutely fine. Okay, just let me know what option is there which you don't understand. Just let me know. Okay. Now in advanced options, I can attach an IAM profile. Okay, IAM profile is just one way to give this particular machine access to other resources. Okay, example, my EC2 instance wants to talk to a database, okay, or wants to talk to a storage. Okay, using this profile, I can go ahead and do that. Okay. This is shutdown behavior, as in whenever somebody shut downs, it will just go ahead and stops it. It can go ahead and terminate it, as in if anybody is shutting down the system, it will directly terminate that system, or it can just stop that system. Currently, we like by default it stop state, because if you shut down, it should just be there, okay, and not release the instance completely. Once it is terminated, that instance will be released. Okay, so you will no longer be able to access that system again. When you do stop, it's going to still be there with you, okay, but just be there in a stop state. So consider it as like stopping means you have a machine, you have just hit shutdown on your machine and kept it there. Okay, that is what a stop means, that you have stopped the instance and kept it aside. Okay, stop the machine and kept it aside. But when you terminate it, it means stop the instance and given it back to somebody else, or AWS back. Okay, example, if you are renting an instance, renting a machine, okay, your laptop, okay, you will take the laptop, okay, you can shut down that laptop and keep it aside. That is stop. But you shut down that laptop and give it back to the vendor, that is terminate. Okay. Again, termination protection, you can say enable. If you say enable, it means that if even if somebody goes ahead and tries to terminate an instance, it will not be terminated. Okay, until and unless you come and disable this explicitly, manually, and then try to terminate that instance. Until then, it will never be terminated. Okay. Stop protection, again, same thing. Nobody will be able to stop that instance until this is enabled or disabled. So this can be specifically for production instances and stuff like that. Stop protection generally we don't do. We have this terminate protection that we would like to set for production or test instances. Okay, but since we are just creating demo instances, you can still keep it disabled. Okay, but right now I'm enabling it to show you how it works. Okay, CloudWatch monitoring, as in this is going to go ahead and monitor the instance. Okay, if you enable it, it will go ahead and add more monitoring to your system. Adding more monitoring to your system means it's going to go ahead and monitor that in system and see, is it running? What is the CPU? What is the memory? Is it running? CPU, memory, running CPU, memory. That's what operations team used to do, right? They used to check and monitor the stuff. Now we have, since we are on cloud provider, instead of us monitoring it, we have a separate monitoring separate service for monitoring everything. So that is called as CloudWatch. Right now I'm disabling it. Okay, it will still monitor, but it's not going to monitor everything, but only some sections. Okay. If you enable this, it's going to apply charges that, which is already written here, as in monitoring. If you enable monitoring here, it's going to apply CloudWatch charges also. Okay, any credit specification, any placement group that you would like to have, purchase options. As I was saying, there were two types of options. Okay, on demand, which we are creating right now, and spot instances, as in if in case they are available, you have quoted a specific, you have quoted a specific number. If in case it's available, it will be given to you. Okay. But if you are not creating a spot instance, you're creating an on demand. That means definitely as soon as you'll click on it, you will get an instance. Okay. Now, when it comes to user data is basically when I'm starting this instance, I want to run. Okay. I'm writing some commands here, simple commands. Okay. These commands will be executed before these commands will be executed, or this script will be executed before like just after provisioning an instance and before giving it to you. Okay, example, I want these two things to be there on all the systems. So I can write it in user data, and every time I'll start a new instance, this user data will already will be executed. Okay, if it's a script, it will be executed. If it's just a binary, it's going to be like set as a file, I guess. That's what happens. Now, when I'll just go ahead and launch this instance, it will create a new machine for me. This machine currently is in pending state, so you will no longer be able to access it currently. Machine type, as I've mentioned, it's going to be T2 micro, because that's what I've said when I was starting the instance. By default, okay, and since we have not given any VPC, it will go in default VPC. This VPC concept we'll study, okay, but and it will automatically have a public IP, okay, which means that you will be able to access it using this IP, not this IP, because it's private. Private means only available internally in the network. Public means available outside. Okay. Now this instance is currently running. Let's just wait for this to be initialized successfully. You can go ahead and check all the values. This is the platform. This is the launch time key that you have used. Okay, monitoring is enabled. we wanted to disable it, but okay, it's currently enabled. We'll disable it. Okay, IPv4 we have enabled, not 6. There is already a public IP that's assigned to it by default. We have not given this. Okay, it will automatically take it from the pool of public IPs that are available with AWS. Okay, so you don't have to buy it also. And it's in this region. Now I'm going to click on this again to refresh it. These are all the details. So I can use either this public DNS or this public IPv4 address to reach this system. Okay, DNS is again a simple domain, so it is again pointing to this IP only. So I use this or this, same. Okay, now I want to log. Now I've created a system, but a system is of no use to me if I am not able to access it, if I'm not able to install my code in that, if I'm not able to run my code in that, right? Until unless I am able to do my stuff there, it's of no use to me. So how will we actually access this system is using this IP or this domain. Now, you remember we created a key pair, we downloaded a key pair also. Automatically it was downloaded when we created it. This is the key pair. Okay, now I'm SSHing into the system. Okay, I'm using SSH to reach that system or log in that system. Okay, because it's a simple Ubuntu system. If it is RDP, then you'll have to do an RDP. If in case you're confused, you can just click on this connect option. Okay, as soon as you will connect, it will give you commands which you can use to access the system. So I am going to just follow this command for now for your sake. Can you see? Now I'm in that system. Hostname -I. If you see this hostname, this should match the private IP of that instance. Private IP of that instance. Now you remember I did apt in user data. I have written apt install nginx, something like that. Okay. Nginx service is not there. Why? So similarly, now this is a Linux system. You can go ahead and debug all of your things and stuff here. So this is this is the logs which came when it was trying to run all of those things here. Okay, or trying to initialize your system. Now again, you see there is a termination protection. There is monitoring detailed which is enabled. So now if I want to set that up, I'll come here, monitor. So example, I want to just disable that option now. I want to terminate this instance. So I'll come here and try to terminate this instance. Terminate as in delete. Delete and give it back to AWS. Now what it says is modify disable API termination instance attribute. Only then you will be able to terminate this instance. So this instance may not be terminated. Modify this. So if I have to modify it, I'll come here, change termination protection to disabled, save it. Okay. If you want to see monitoring, this is how monitoring looks like here. Currently, since we have just started the system, so 1 hour of data is going to be too much for it to actually show any values. But after some time, it will start showing you all the graphs and values here. To see detailed monitoring, you can just click on this. I have disabled detailed monitoring, so I don't want detailed one. Okay. I just want a simple monitoring. So when you come here and see, monitoring is disabling. Okay. As in, it's not going to monitor everything, it's going to just monitor some standard stuff that it does. Earlier, it was in disabling state. Now it is in disabled state. That means it's successfully disabled. Okay, stop hibernate instance and other things that we have already kept it as disabled. Now you see I have used one key. This is a public this is a key that we downloaded. It's basically a is basically a private key that I have used to log in into this instance. Now I can go ahead and like add password authentication, add users, stuff like that, okay, to the system too. But initially, first time whenever you log in, you'll have to log in through this only. That's the default option that's available in AWS. Okay. There are other connection options available, but since we have not enabled those options currently, it might not work. Okay. Cool. So this first option also worked for us. So when you'll connect, you can connect it through this. Okay. I don't think session manager will work because we have not attached any instance profile. We don't have a agent and other stuff to enable this. So you can use this option or this option. Okay. To log in into the instance like this. Now you're in root. Okay. You can add user. You can do whatever you would like to do. Now, any questions till here? I have been talking a lot, so I'm not sure whether it was easy, difficult, confusing. You guys can just go ahead and create your own instances. It's very easy. If you face any challenges, you can go ahead and like just post it on your channel as well. Okay, on our channel as well.